December 21st. Call the meeting to order. And notify everybody that it's video and audio recorded. And hopefully Savannah's here. She can do a roll call. Savannah?
I am here. Jack Prothrow.
Here.
Cindy Yunkin.
Here.
Porter Bennett.
Here.
Tim Kober.
Absent.
Maggie Peterson.
Here.
Mark Berry.
Here.
Jeff Meredith.
Here.
Dan Trost.
Absent.
Wayne Iverson.
Present.
And Senator Jeremy Trebus. Don't see him. All right, we do have a quorum. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you, Savannah. Appreciate it. I'll call right now for public comment from anybody that has any issues with that's under the board's jurisdiction. Is there any public comment? Seeing none or hearing none. Dan, is there anybody on the line that you see?
Nope, we don't have any hands raised.
Okay, so no public comment. We'll go to our agenda item, which is HB 819, workforce housing. So I'll turn it over to you, Dan.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, you have the memorandum before you. Maybe a couple of issues that board members have raised since we were together several weeks ago. One, we will incorporate in any development agreement an owner representative to basically monitor the project, make sure that the construction's going the way it needs to. We did have a conversation with Powell County this morning in order to facilitate the quitclaim deed with the Department of Corrections. We don't necessarily need full legal description, mostly because it doesn't exist at the current time. I do have a call into the Department of Transportation to do a survey so that when we do the land swap with the city of Deer Lodge, we'll have the full legal description and we can just transfer straight across. And those were really the questions that I've gotten, but I'm happy to answer any more the board may have.
Dan, this is
Yes,
Megan.
ma'am.
This doesn't need to go to the land board, right? This land swap?
No, it does not. We had, I had DNRC trust lands check on it. These are not state trust lands. These are just properties of the Department of Corrections.
Okay.
So I know Dan went over this at our prior meeting at the working lunch, but it is an unusual thing. So I want to make sure before we do anything that there's no questions or anything that we need to address. So Dan, I know you've covered most of this, but is there any particular things you need to draw attention to the board?
I did include the final site plan as attachment E. Other than the dog park and the playground won't be there. There's a park next door. The architects just like to be fancy, but we're not paying for a dog park or a top lot or anything like that. It'll just be grass because there is the public park next door that we can use. Other than that, I think it's pretty straightforward. We will at some point bring forward a policy on the loans. To maybe just to make sure everybody is on the same page. These buildings we're building now will not be for sale. They'll be sort of the temporary housing for the employees for that 5-year period. Then at the conclusion of that 5-year period, there'll be a $30,000 0% 20-year term note that'll be participation. Very much need to stick with the board not being a direct lender. So we'll work with whichever bank happens to underwrite that particular employee to go do that sort of housing, whether that's construction or whatever. We'll look to them to be the originator and the applicant, and then we'll participate in that for the 30,000. No interest in creating a direct loan program here, so just thought I'd point that out.
Well, that's good. We've got a model that's worked for us and it's along those lines. So, any other questions from any board members?
Yeah, I have
I
a
got-
question. I have a
Go ahead.
question regarding that. Does that mean that the lending bank or whatever will be the servicing agent on our behalf for that non-interest bearing loan?
Either them or Board of Housing.
Okay, is that something you need to work on yet? I mean, it's a long ways down the road, but
Not yet, but sometime next year, I'd like to get it all out of the way. Grass grows on dead animals, so let's not be the dead animal.
okay. Oh, can I have one more question, Mr. Chairman?
Certainly you can have more than one if you want.
No, I don't. I think I'm taking up too much time for people. On the owner's representative concept, is that going to be independent of the contractor?
That, as I understood your comment, Mark, it would be independent of the contractor.
Yes, okay. Is that something that we might be able to get Dick Anderson's staff to do or under that contract?
Likely, that would be my first stop. If not, find some building inspector in the valley to go out and check on it every week or so.
Okay, all right. Okay, I mentioned, emailed Dan about that. I just think it's important to have an independent owner's representative to make sure that the thing is on task and there's not, construction is a screwy business, things happen. And it'd be good to have somebody that's watching over for mistakes that could occur.
Yeah, I
Totally.
got a question. This is Dwayne, and I'm wondering, what stuff do we have to bid on this? Do we have to bid the architecture? Do we have to bid the engineering? Do we have to bid the contractor? Or how do we do that?
So because this is under our investment portfolio, we don't bid it. This is a manager selection. So this will be $12 million recorded. Now it's recorded as cash. It'll be recorded as 12 million. Well, actually it'll go up in value because we'll get whatever the value of the land from DOC is will be held as a real estate asset of the fund. So it'll go up in value and then it'll change from cash to real estate. So think of it kind of like the trust fund model where we hold the real estate in the trust fund and then the yield off of those rent payments is distributed, except in this case, it'll all stay within that bucket.
And Dan, maybe you should explain to Dwayne why this particular contractor was selected.
Yeah, so this particular contractor was selected based on a conversation with the city of Deer Lodge. They approached us under the other provisions of House Bill 819. This contractor bought the adjacent 47 acres to the piece that we're looking at. So they needed water, sewer, and roads into their parcel. And they were gonna do the swap. We worked out, vernacular public-private partnership where that we will build some of the infrastructure with our money to open up an additional 200 lots in Deer Lodge. They'll work with us on the construction side. So it's sort of that down that line of public-private partnership. And the synergies are just there. The access roads, the water, the sewer, the latecomer fees coming back to the state based on that development taking place. We did run some quick checks on the costs. And Jeff, I hate to put you on the spot, but the costs we're seeing for this are in the ballpark of sort of market costs. So there's no usurious type situation.
No, it seemed the overall cost seemed pretty reasonable. We bounced it off our branch president up in the Butte Deer Lodge area, and he confirmed he thought that was on market. So it doesn't appear to be off point in regards to what the cost for this type of project would be for any other developer.
Thank you. Dwayne, other questions?
The concern I have, I guess, when I look at a budget, I've been involved in construction of different things. There's always a 10% overrun on new projects, and remodels are far worse than that. And how are we going to handle those type of contingencies?
So if you look at attachment A, you'll see about a third of the way down on estimated cost breakdown, contingency of 126,969. And then you go down almost to the bottom of that section, other, 491, 152. That gives you 621, 121, or a 7.6% contingency built into the costs. So we're, comfortable with that, but anything above that eats into the developer's margin.
Because the developer is going to guarantee the price on the backside. So we're buying the property for X number of dollars.
This whole project, we are purchasing for $8,846,000.
So it's really a turnkey that we're buying.
Exactly.
I didn't catch that. It's what that you're buying?
A turnkey.
Okay.
They're
turnkey.
building it and we'll buy it.
Yeah, okay. That answered my question.
Yep. Dwayne, any other questions?
No, it being a turnkey, I can see where possibly, we could do it within the type of stuff you're doing. Otherwise, when you end up with a state-owned asset, even if it's in our inventory, would be one that typically would have to be bid. That's where my concern was at. And when you're doing that, you don't necessarily know if you can come within the numbers you're looking at.
The part of the reason the legislature wanted this with us is because they didn't want to have to go through that process. They want to view this as an investment and get it done sooner rather than later. So that's why this weird sort of unique thing is here in the first place, because of our authority under the Unified Investment Program.
That answers my question, so thanks.
You bet. Porter, did you have any more?
Well, I was just wondering, I was looking at the pro formas, and there's the variability in them. I was wondering, you mentioned something about it the other day, and I couldn't remember what it was that was driving that.
Down on the, or which portion on the black and white pro formas?
Yeah, it's the 20-year deal.
So if you look at every 5 years, we built this on the conservative side. So we assume that everybody who occupies one of these units will draw the $30,000 loan every 5 years. So you'll see at the bottom, year 4, 4.59 ending fund balance. Year 5, 4.058 ending fund balance. That assumes that all 28 units draw the full $30,000 out. And then the following year, we start to recover some of those, the principal repayment from those loans.
Okay, and now I remember what you said.
Yep. And then you see the STIP earnings, we're assuming we get back down to 2.5% sometime in the next 10 years, but if we had that one very precise, we'd be working for Jeff for a lot more money. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we'd be working for somebody for more money.
Yeah. So we tried to build it on the conservative side. I think it's a fairly good representation. I estimate we likely get a little bit more investment income, which you saw reflected on the per square foot numbers on the first page, where we'll get a little bit of that income in on the first year. We are going to have a statutory change later to allow us to keep the income. Right now, it all goes to the debt-free account, but the governor's office has already said that's not a problem, and they'll introduce it as part of the executive budget.
So Dan, when you presented to the legislature, you talked about this, I think, maybe not in this detail. The way I understood it is they were complimentary to us and think everything's going how it should be. Is that your impression?
Mr. Chairman, the best measure I have of whether or not the legislature likes something is if they take credit for it. and everybody had this original idea. So I think we're in a good place. The chair of finance as well as the chair of appropriations were very happy. We're actually getting calls from other agencies to try to see if this is something that could be replicated in other places. So, you know, I think we're in a good spot. We just have to pull off what's on the piece of paper, which clearly won't be as easy as it's articulated in memo form, but that's what we're here for.
Good. Other questions for Dan?
I just have one more question, Mr. Chairman. I didn't see where, assuming that we pass this today, which seems evident, when will they break ground and when will it be available for occupancy?
So we'll work on that in the development contract. I've told them we need occupancy prior to the legislature in January of 25. When I talked to Lynn yesterday, looks like September of 24, we'd start getting certificates of occupancy, breaking ground, depending on how the weather holds. I mean, if it's like this all winter, we can start moving dirt in March. If at some point we get snow, that'll change things. But we should be, because we're going to build the 7-unit blocks, we should be able to get at least a few of them done mid to late summer next year.
Thank you.
Yep.
And anything else? Anything else, Dan, that you'd like to talk about?
Just, Mr. Chairman, to thank the staff. This was one of those projects that permeated. We had to figure out the accounting. We had to figure out how to account for the income. We had to do the pro formas. We ran a full real estate due diligence on the developer, as we would any of the real estate developers or any of the real estate managers we have. There hasn't been an entity at the board staff level that hasn't touched it. And I just want to thank them for doing such a great job underwriting this, making sure the numbers check, kicking the tires. Very true team effort.
Yeah, from the board's perspective, I'd like to compliment you and them, make sure they know that it was a good proposal, easy, at least for me to understand and make sense. So with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve the HB 819 proposal.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
Moved. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and second. Any other discussion or questions? If not, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, this is approved unanimously. Anything else we need to do, Dan?
No, I figure, I've about burned all the per diem I'm gonna get out of you this year. So everyone just have a Merry Christmas and we'll see you in 2024.
Okay, well, Dan,
Same
it's
with
been
you.
a good year. I think hopefully the new board members have enjoyed their service this year and maybe have learned something. And I just want to thank you all because you made my job easy and you really do take the time to look at it and ask good questions. So again, I like to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to everybody.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas.
Christmas.
See ya.